welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the experiences I've had with substrates and the different types of substrates and the pros and cons to the ones that I've tried. The first substrate I used, if you can call it that, was fleece. I know I would never use it now, but at the time it seemed like an okay choice. It's cheap, warm, soft, reusable, and you just throw it in the washing machine to clean it. The problem is it has really limited absorbency, so they pee on it and then the pee just sits on top of the fabric. Eventually it sinks in, but then it just smells and the build-up is not good for their little respiratory systems. It also offers them nothing in the way of enrichment. They can't dig or burrow or play with it, and scatter feeding is incredibly boring as they find all the food straight away. I still use fleece for hammocks but would never ever go back to using it as a floor covering. The second substrate I tried was Bedmax Pine Shavings. I don't have any clips unfortunately as we didn't use it long, but Bedmax is relatively cheap to buy. It's enriching as they can flick it up in the air and dig in it. It's bouncy for them to walk on and it's really absorbent, which is great. I think my experience with Bedmax was tainted a little as the initial bale I got was mouldy, which was a problem that Bedmax were having at the time. But with my limited experience, my rats weren't very happy on it generally. It has a natural woody smell, which is fine, but they were a little sneezy with it. Also, the smaller shavings can feel a bit dusty and a couple of my rats are sensitive, so I just didn't feel this was the right substrate for us, and I don't think it's something I'll try again in the future. Next, I tried Orbios hemp shavings. I actually really like this substrate, and my rats were on Orbios for the majority of my rat keeping life. It has a nice consistency, and rats love to burrow, dig, play, and forage in it. It's highly absorbent, so I never had any issues with smell, and it doesn't really have a natural scent either. My only concerns with Orbios were firstly that because the shavings are small it gets everywhere, and secondly it made me sneezy when I'd change it. So I thought it was strange as it isn't really dusty, but one of my younger rats had started sneezing too, so I figured he might be a bit sensitive to it the same way that I was. I would consider using Orbios again to mix in with my current substrate and would definitely be the first substrate I would recommend for less sensitive rats, as I do love it. The last substrate I tried, and the one that my rats are currently on, is Phenacard cardboard shreddings. Phenacard is light and flickable like Bedmax, but also diggable and forageable like Orbios, so consistency wise it ticks all of my boxes. Its absorbency is pretty good too, perhaps not as good as Orbios, but I haven't had any issues with smell in the last 2 months they've been on it. It doesn't really have a scent, which is great, and my sneezy boy is doing much better since the switch. I think I'll be sticking with Phenacard going forward as my rat seems to be most comfortable on it. So those are the substrates that I've tried, and I'm really happy that we've ended up with Phenacard, which my rats love. That's it from us. If you have any questions, as before, pop them below in the comments. Bye!